the healers of Earth. Earth was a beacon of hope in a galaxy torn by strife. Once divided by wars and greed, humanity had risen above its past, dedicating itself to healing the wounds of the universe. Advanced medical technology, unparalleled in its efficiency and compassion, flowed from Earth to every corner of the galaxy. Hospitals and research facilities dotted the planet, their gleaming towers symbols of humanity's commitment to peace. Among these was the Celestis Institute, a hub of innovation where the brightest minds worked tirelessly to cure the galaxy's most devastating diseases. Dr. Lara Voss stood in the Institute's central lab, her hand hovering over a holographic display of a molecular structure. The project she led was on the verge of a breakthrough, a cure for Viridian plague, a disease that had ravaged countless worlds. Her team had worked for years, driven by the belief that no life was expendable. Ilara's eyes flickered with determination as she adjusted the simulation, her mind racing with possibilities. She was a healer, not a soldier, but her work was her weapon against suffering. The Krelther, a warlike species from the Outer Rim, viewed humanity's pacifism with disdain. To them, compassion was weakness, and Earth's resources were ripe for the taking. Their society thrived on conquest, their history written in the ashes of civilizations they had subjugated. The Krelther High Command saw Earth as an easy target, a planet of soft beings who would crumble under the weight of their might. They had no interest in diplomacy. Their fleet, a swarm of jagged warships, descended upon Earth's orbit with brutal efficiency. On Earth, the first signs of the Krelther's arrival were met with cautious optimism. The United Earth Council prepared for first contact, their protocols emphasizing peace and cooperation. Ilara watched from the Institute's observation deck as the alien ships loomed in the sky, their dark silhouettes blotting out the stars. She felt a pang of unease but pushed it aside, trusting in humanity's ability to find common ground. The Krelther's attack was swift and merciless. Without warning, their ships unleashed a barrage of plasma fire, reducing cities to smoldering ruins. Hospitals and research facilities were primary targets, their destruction a calculated move to cripple humanity's spirit. The Celestis Institute was among the first to fall. Ilara barely escaped the collapsing lab, her heart pounding as she stumbled through the chaos. Around her, colleagues lay injured or trapped, their cries for help drowned out by the roar of explosions. Humanity's defensive measures were no match for the Krelther's onslaught. Non-lethal energy shields and EMP pulses were easily overwhelmed by the aliens' advanced weaponry. The United Earth Defense Force fought valiantly, but their efforts were futile. Ilara watched in horror as the skies burned, her mind struggling to comprehend the scale of the devastation. She had dedicated her life to saving others, but now she felt powerless, her hands trembling as she tended to the wounded. The Krelther's brutality reached its peak when they targeted the Institute's central archive, a repository of centuries of medical knowledge. Ilara stood frozen as the building was reduced to rubble, years of research lost in an instant. Tears streamed down her face as she realized the magnitude of what had been taken. Not just from her, but from an entire galaxy. The Viridian plague would continue to claim lives, and humanity's ability to heal had been shattered. Amid the destruction, a glimmer of hope emerged. In the Institute's underground vault, a project long kept secret had survived the attack. Ilara stumbled upon it by chance, her curiosity piqued by a faint energy signature. The vault's doors hissed open, revealing a chamber filled with advanced technology unlike anything she had seen before. Holographic displays flickered to life, detailing a project known as Angels of Death. Ilara's breath caught in her throat as she read the files, her mind racing with possibilities. The Angels of Death were humanity's last resort, a weapon designed to protect Earth at all costs. Created in secret by a faction of scientists and engineers, they represented the darker side of humanity's ingenuity, a side Ilara had never imagined existed. The technology was both awe-inspiring and terrifying, its potential for destruction unmatched. As she stood in the vault, surrounded by the remnants of her world, Ilara felt a surge of resolve. The Krelther had attacked Earth's healers, but they had underestimated humanity's will to survive. The section ends with Ilara activating the Angels of Death, her hand steady as she input the final command. The screen before her flashed with a single word: deploy. Outside, The skies darkened as the first of the angels emerged, their sleek forms cutting through the smoke-filled air. Illyra watched in silence, her heart heavy with the weight of what was to come. The Krelther had brought death to Earth, but humanity would answer in kind. The attack on the healers. The Krelther's assault was relentless, their warships carving through Earth's defenses like a scythe through wheat. Cities burned, their once proud skylines reduced to jagged ruins. The air was thick with smoke and the acrid stench of burning metal, the ground trembling under the weight of falling debris. Hospitals and research facilities, symbols of humanity's compassion, were primary targets. The Krelther strategy was clear: cripple Earth's ability to heal, and its spirit would follow. Illyra Voss moved through the chaos with a grim determination, her medical training guiding her hands as she tended to the wounded. The Celestis Institute was gone, its halls now attuned for the knowledge and lives it once housed. She had lost colleagues, friends, and years of work in a matter of minutes. The weight of it threatened to crush her, but she pushed forward, driven by the need to save whoever she could. Around her, survivors cried out for help, their voices blending into a cacophony of despair. The Krelther's ground forces descended upon the planet, their armored soldiers cutting through the remnants of Earth's defenses. They showed no mercy, their weapons tearing through flesh and bone with brutal efficiency. Illyra watched in horror as a group of soldiers stormed a makeshift triage center, their plasma rifles reducing the wounded to ash. She ducked behind a shattered wall, her heart pounding as the soldiers moved past, their laughter echoing in the ruins. Humanity's attempts to fight back were futile. The United Earth Defense Force, trained for peacekeeping and disaster relief, was no match for the Krelther's military might. Non-lethal weapons and defensive measures were brushed aside, their energy shields collapsing under the aliens' relentless assault. The skies were filled with the wreckage of human ships, their pilots sacrificing themselves in a desperate bid to buy time. Illyra found herself in the ruins of a hospital, its once bustling halls now silent save for the occasional groan of the dying. She moved from patient to patient, her supplies dwindling as she worked to stabilize the injured. A child clung to her arm, his face streaked with tears and soot. She whispered reassurances, her voice trembling as she bandaged his wounds. The boy's mother lay nearby, her lifeless eyes staring at the ceiling. Illyra clenched her fists, her grief giving way to a simmering rage. The Krelther's cruelty knew no bounds. They targeted not just the living, but the very essence of humanity's hope. Research facilities were razed aground, their data and discoveries lost forever. The Viridian Plague, once on the brink of a cure, would continue to ravage the galaxy. Illyra thought of countless lives that would be lost, their deaths now a grim certainty. She felt a pang of guilt, as if she had failed them all. As the hours passed, the scale of the devastation became clear. Earth's cities were in ruins, their populations decimated. The Krelther's ships loomed in the sky, their presence a constant reminder of humanity's helplessness. Illyra wandered through the wreckage, her mind numb with shock. She stumbled upon a group of survivors huddled in the remains of a subway station, their faces hollow with fear. They spoke in hushed tones, their voices tinged with despair. Among the survivors was a man named Jackson, a former engineer who had worked on the Angels of Death project. He recognized Illyra from the Celestis Institute and approached her with a grim expression. "They didn't just attack us," he said, his voice low. "They attacked everything we stand for. But we're not defenseless. There's something you need to see." Jackson led Illyra to a hidden bunker beneath the subway station, its entrance concealed by rubble. Inside, she found a terminal connected to a network of underground facilities. The screen displayed a map of Earth, dotted with markers indicating the locations of the Angels of Death. Jackson explained that the project had been kept secret, even from most of humanity. "We built them as a last resort," he said, his eyes dark with regret. "But now we have no choice." Illyra stared at the screen, her mind racing. The Angels of Death were humanity's ultimate weapon, a force designed to protect Earth at all costs. Their creation had been a closely guarded secret, their existence known only to a select few. She felt a surge of conflicting emotions, relief at the possibility of fighting back, and dread at the destruction the Angels would unleash. Jackson input a series of commands, activating the Angels of Death. The screen flickered as the system came online, its interface displaying a single word: ready. Illyra took a deep breath, her hands trembling as she reached for the controls. She thought of the lives lost, the cities destroyed, and the hope that had been extinguished. The Krelther had brought death to Earth, but humanity would answer in kind. The section ends with Illyra initiating the deployment sequence, her resolve hardening as the first of the angels emerged from their hidden vaults. The ground shook as the massive machines rose from the earth, their sleek forms gleaming in the firelight. Illyra watched in silence, her heart heavy with the weight of what was to come. The Krelther had attacked Earth's healers, but they had awakened something far more dangerous. Humanity's wrath would be swift and merciless. The Angels of Death. The activation of the Angels of Death sent a ripple through the remnants of Earth's shattered defenses. Hidden beneath the planet's surface, the massive war machines stirred to life, their systems humming with lethal precision. Each angel was a marvel of engineering, towering over buildings with sleek, armored frames and glowing energy cores. Their design was both elegant and terrifying, a testament to humanity's ingenuity and capacity for destruction. Illyra Voss stood in the control bunker, her eyes fixed on the holographic display as the angels emerged from their vaults. The screen showed their locations across the globe, their movements synchronized as they prepared to engage the Krelther forces. Jackson worked beside her, his fingers flying over the terminal as he input commands. "They're fully autonomous," he explained, his voice tense. "Once deployed, they'll target the Krelther with surgical precision. We just need to give them the order." The first angel to engage the enemy was stationed near the ruins of New York. It moved with a fluid grace, its energy blades slicing through Krelther soldiers like paper. The aliens, caught off guard by the sudden counterattack, scrambled to regroup, but the angel was relentless. Its sensors locked onto their positions, its weapon systems firing with deadly accuracy. Within minutes, the Krelther forces in the area were decimated, their bodies littering the streets. Illyra watched the feed from the angel's cameras, her stomach churning at the carnage. She had spent her life saving lives, and now she was unleashing a force designed to take them. The contradiction weighed heavily on her, but she knew there was no other choice. The Krelther had left humanity with no alternative. Across the planet, the Angels of Death began their campaign of retribution. In London, an angel intercepted a Krelther dropship mid-descent, its plasma cannons reducing the vessel to molten slag. In Tokyo, another angel engaged a battalion of alien soldiers, its energy shields deflecting their attacks as it closed the distance. The Krelther's superior firepower was no match for the Angels' advanced technology, their weapons useless against the war machine's defenses. The Krelther High Command, monitoring the battle from their flagship, was stunned by the sudden turn of events. They had expected Earth to fall quickly, its pacifist population unable to mount a meaningful resistance. The appearance of the Angels of Death shattered that assumption, their presence a grim reminder of humanity's hidden strength. The High Commander, a grizzled veteran of countless conquests, barked orders to his subordinates, demanding answers. What are these things? Where did they come from? On the ground, the Angels continued their relentless advance. In Moscow, an angel intercepted a Krelther artillery unit, its energy blades cutting through their armored vehicles with ease. In Sydney, another angel engaged a swarm of alien drones, its targeting systems picking them off one by one. The Krelther forces, once confident in their victory, now found themselves on defensive, their ranks thinning with each passing moment. Illyra monitored the angels' progress in the bunker, her emotions a turbulent mix of relief and guilt. The Krelther were being pushed back, but the cost was staggering. Cities already in ruins were further devastated by the fighting, their remaining inhabitants caught in the crossfire. She thought of the lives lost, both human and alien, and wondered if there could ever be peace after such destruction. Jackson, sensing her turmoil, placed a hand on her shoulder. "We didn't want this," he said quietly, "but they left us no choice. If we hadn't fought back, there would be nothing left of Earth." Illyra nodded, her resolve hardening. She knew he was right, but that didn't make it any easier. The Angels of Death were a necessary evil, a tool to protect what remained of humanity. But they were also a reminder of the darkness that lurked within even the most peaceful societies. As the battle raged on, the Krelther began to retreat, their forces pulling back to regroup. The Angels pursued them, their relentless advance driving the aliens toward their ships. The skies were filled with the wreckage of Krelther vessels, their once proud fleet now a shadow of its former self. The High Commander, realizing the futility of continuing the fight, ordered a full withdrawal. Illyra watched as the Krelther ships began to disengage, their engines flaring as they prepared to leave Earth's orbit. The Angels of Death stood victorious, their gleaming forms silhouetted against the burning sky. But the victory felt hollow, the cost of it etched into the ruins of the planet. The section ends with Illyra staring at the holographic display, her mind racing with the implications of what had just transpired. The Krelther had been driven back, but humanity's victory came at a steep price. The Angels of Death had saved Earth, but they had also changed it forever. As the screen flickered with data from the battle, Illyra wondered if humanity could ever return to the path of healing, or if the darkness unleashed by the Angels would consume them all. Retribution and redemption. The Krelther fleet, battered and broken, retreated from Earth's orbit, their once proud warships now limping through the void. The Angels of Death had done their job, driving the invaders back with ruthless efficiency. But the cost of victory was etched into the planet's surface, its cities reduced to smoldering ruins, and its people scarred by the horrors of war. Illyra Voss stood in the control bunker, her eyes fixed on the holographic display as the last of the Krelther ships disappeared from view. The screen flickered with data from the battle, its cold numbers a stark reminder of the lives lost on both sides. Jackson approached her, his face grim. "It's over," he said quietly. "For now, at least." Illyra nodded, her mind racing with the implications of what had just transpired. The Krelther had been defeated, but humanity's victory came at a steep price. The Angels of Death had saved Earth, but they had also unleashed a darkness that could not be undone. She thought of the countless lives lost, both human and alien, and wondered if there could ever be peace after such destruction. The United Earth Council convened an emergency meeting, its members grappling with the aftermath of the battle. The Angels of Death had proven their worth, but their existence raised troubling questions about humanity's future. Some argued that the war machine should be deactivated, their technology locked away to prevent further bloodshed. Others insisted that the Angels were necessary to protect Earth from future threats. Illyra, invited to speak before the council, found herself torn between the two sides. "We built the Angels of Death to protect ourselves," she said, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. "But we must ask ourselves what kind of future we want. If we continue down this path, we risk becoming the very thing we fought against." Her words sparked a heated debate. The council members divided on how to proceed. In the end, a compromise was reached. The Angels of Death would remain active, but their use would be strictly regulated. A new branch of the United Earth Defense Force, known as the Guardians, would oversee their deployment, ensuring that the war machines were used only as a last resort. As the council deliberated, the Krelther High Command faced its own reckoning. The defeated Earth had shaken their confidence, their belief in their own superiority shattered by humanity's unexpected resilience. The High Commander, once a proud and ruthless leader, now found himself questioning the cost of their conquests. He ordered his fleet to return to their homeworld, their mission abandoned in the face of overwhelming defeat. On Earth, the process of rebuilding began. Survivors emerged from the ruins, their faces etched with grief and determination. The Celestis Institute, though destroyed, became a symbol of humanity's resilience, its legacy inspiring a new generation of healers. Illyra, now a prominent figure in the recovery effort, worked tirelessly to restore what had been lost. She knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, but she also knew that humanity had the strength to endure. The Angels of Death, once hidden beneath the planet's surface, now stood as silent sentinels, their presence a reminder of the cost of war. The Guardians, tasked with overseeing their deployment, worked to ensure that the war machines would never be used lightly. Illyra, though still uneasy about their existence, found solace in the knowledge that they were in capable hands. As the months passed, Earth began to heal. The scars of the Krelther invasion remained, but they were slowly being covered by new growth. The Viridian Plague, though still a threat, was once again the focus of medical research. Illyra, leading a new team of scientists, worked to rebuild a knowledge that had been lost, her determination fueled by the memory of those who had fallen. The Krelther, meanwhile, faced a crisis of their own. The defeated Earth had sparked unrest among their people, their faith in the High Command shaken by the failure of their campaign. The High Commander, realizing that their path of conquest had led only to ruin, began to seek a new way forward. He reached out to the United Earth Council, offering an unprecedented proposal, a truce and the possibility of peace. Illyra, representing Earth in the negotiations, approached the meeting with cautious optimism. The Krelther delegation, led by the High Commander himself, was a stark contrast to the ruthless invaders she had faced during the war. Their demeanor was subdued, their expressions tinged with regret. The High Commander spoke of the cost of their actions, his voice heavy with the weight of his people's suffering. "We were wrong," he admitted, his words echoing in the silence of the council chamber. "We believe that strength was the only path to survival, but you have shown us that there is another way." The negotiations were difficult, the wounds of war still fresh on both sides. But in the end, an agreement was reached. The Krelther would cease their campaign of conquest, their focus shifting to rebuilding their own society. In exchange, Earth would share its medical knowledge, helping to heal the wounds inflicted by the Viridian Plague. The section ends with Illyra standing on the observation deck of a newly constructed space station, her eyes fixed on the stars. The Krelther fleet, now a symbol of hope rather than fear, drifted in the distance. She thought of the long road that had brought them to this moment, and the challenges that still lay ahead. But for the first time in a long time, she felt a glimmer of hope. The Krelther had attacked Earth's healers, but in the end, it was healing that had brought them together. Humanity's strength lay not in its capacity for destruction, but in its ability to rise above it. And as she gazed at the stars, Illyra knew that the future, though uncertain, was worth fighting for.